Uh, Good morning, good morning. I'm so happy to be here and happy Friday to everybody. Poor Donna there, she trying to get herself together so that she could get on, and she's she's a little too sick this morning. So Donna, prayers for quick healing, beautiful. Hopefully this weekend you'll get yourself better and everything, and then we'll have you back next week regular. Because we miss you when you're not here. Love you. So prayers, pray you get better this weekend. Beautiful. Today we are going to kick off Friday with our chapter 3, Take Your Lid Off the Jar, in Steve Harvey's new book, Act Like a Success. It was kind of cute because as I was getting up this morning and getting things settled, and I plugged in the Kindle last night, so it's all nice and charged for me this morning and everything, and go to open it up, and you got to exit out of free time in Kindle. And for those of you that aren't sure what free time is, I have a 4-year-old daughter. Actually, she'll be 5 coming up in November, so wow, time flies. But these Kindle Fires, I love them. They are just they've been my best friends ever since they started coming out. I keep my ebooks on it. I keep my audiobooks on it through Audible. Um, so many things that you can do with it, even though it's just, pretty much a tablet, but it still has a lot that you can do. And that I can bring it outside, the lighting in it and everything else, it just makes my world so much easier. And, as much as I do love my paper books, but like with my hands and stuff from my disability, 'cause my fingers are curled up and that kind of stuff. So I do. I like the fact that with this, it's like I just hold it, and I can, I can hold it any way I choose, and then turn around and get one finger to come out and swipe. So it makes it that easy. Plus, you can adjust the letters. You can make them bigger, smaller, the whole bit. Well, one of the other nice things that Kindle started doing with their HD ones and all that kind of stuff is that you can turn around and they have what's called a Kindle free time, which is for the kids. And that part of it, you actually can set up the parental blocks. It gives you so many different things that they can go in and play with, and they're not messing with the stuff that's inside your Kindle. You can actually select like what they can access, what they can't access, books, videos, things like that. Then they have a library of kids things, games, videos, books, interactive things and stuff like that. So it's actually pretty cool. It's where we we share our Kindle. So this morning, before I could even get into the book, I had to exit out of free time so that I could get to the book so that we could go ahead and get to our reading this morning. So I just think that's pretty neat. And then it is also nice because I also Kindle makes it to where I've also got it on my PC, so I can read it whether I'm on the computer. I can read them from my Kindle, or I also have it on my iPhone, so that makes it just as well too. So let's get this Friday morning started. I'm sure everybody's busy. I know we were late this morning, so I just want to get off to reading, get a little bit of mindset, and then, let's rock this weekend. Chapter 3, Take the Lid Off the Jar. In moving toward your dream, it's necessary to take the lid off the jar. Far too many of us let our age, race, sex, or economic background hold us down and restrict us from dreaming big. But you can't allow yourself to be held down by what your parents did or the limitations in your immediate environment. You have to take the lid off your expectations and dream big. Have you ever looked at what happens to a flea when you get put in a jar? The flea jumps only high enough so that its head no longer hits the lid. If those fleas in the jar have baby fleas, the baby fleas are born with the same vertical ability to jump 200 times their size. However, because they are in an environment where they only see other fleas jumping so as not to hit their heads, they begin to duplicate the behavior in their environment. You can't concern yourself or try to duplicate the action of others around you. You were clearly created, destined to climb, jump, and soar 200 times your size and even greater. How often do we allow the impressions of others to affect our direction, our altitude, our ability? Far too many times we have stunted our growth and we have impeded our leap because of the opinions of others. How often do we stop our own progress because we looked to the left or to the right and based our actions on someone else's ability? Don't get caught in that trap of comparing yourself to someone else. Release yourself from excuses and limitations. Just like a flea, we are all born with the ability to take huge vertical leaps. Yet slowly but surely, we let the neighborhood we grew up in or our family's social or economic background affect how high we jump. We become just like those fleas in a jar, and we let our surroundings stop us from reaching our maximum potential. Some of us have been so conditioned to being in the jar of our limitations that when the lid is finally taken off, we don't know how to dream big. We can't imagine that we deserve anything better than what we already have. But you know what? We were created to live beyond our current jar, regardless of our age, sex, race, or ability. We were designed to jump so high and so hard that we can literally break the lid off wherever we are. I remember the first time I had a lid put on my limitations. I was in sixth grade, and my teacher asked everyone in the class to write on a piece of paper that they wanted to be, of what they wanted to be when they grew up. Everybody started writing, and I got excited. I knew exactly what I wanted to be when I got older. I wanted to be on TV. I wrote that down on my paper and turned it in. The teacher started calling our names and reading out loud what we wrote. I couldn't wait for her to call me. When the teacher finally got to my name, she said, "Little Stevie, stand up and come to the front of the room." As I started walking to the front of the class, I just knew I'd written something so deep and powerful that she wanted to share it with everybody. I was a poor kid with hand-me-down clothes and stuttering problem. This was my chance to show them all what little Stevie was made of. When I finally got to the front, she asked me, "Little Stevie, what did you write on your paper?" I stuck out my little chest, responded with pride of an Olympic gold medal winner, "I want to be on TV." But then she confused me when she followed up with, "Why did you write that on your paper?" I'm thinking, well, isn't that what you asked me to do? But I respectfully said, "I thought that's what you wanted us to do, so I wrote down that I wanted to be on TV." My confusion turned into horror when she asked, "Do you know anybody on TV?" "No, ma'am," I replied. "Has anybody in your family been on TV?" I said, "No, ma'am." She delivered her final blow when she said, "Stevie, you can't be on TV. You take this paper home and write something more realistic, then bring it back tomorrow." I was angry. I didn't understand what was going on. She asked me what I wanted to be, not what my parents did and what I saw other people do. I told her what I wanted, and she killed my dream right in front of the class. The teacher called my house before I got home, and as soon as I walked in the door, my mother asked me, "What did you do up at that school today?" I told her what happened, and she said, "Boy, why didn't you just write something that teacher wanted on paper?" I stood in the kitchen and couldn't understand why my mother was so upset. In sixth grade, I was a little flea dreaming and jumping at 200 times my size. I wanted to be on TV because of Bill Cosby. When I Spy came on, the whole block would clear out just to run home and watch him. After I saw Bill Cosby, I knew I didn't want to be an electrician, a doctor, a lawyer. I wanted to be funny on TV, just like him. That's all I knew. When my father came home, my mother told him what happened, and he said, "Well, what's wrong with that? If that's what boy wants to be on TV, why can't he write that on his paper?" My mom said she wants him to write something more believable, to which he replied, "If that's what he wants to be, then she better start believing it." My father told me to go to my room and wait for him there. When he finally came in, we talked about what the teacher wanted. He told me to get a new piece of paper. We agreed to write the word policeman on the new sheet and give it to her the next day. And then he told me to do something that changed my life forever. He said, "Steve, take out that first paper you wrote, put it in your top drawer, and every morning before you go to school and every night before you go to sleep, you read that paper and you believe that one day you will be on TV. Now, when you turn on your TV 7 days a week, little Stevie is on TV." I didn't allow one lady in the sixth grade with her limited expectations to affect me. I admit it was damaging to me for some time, but I learned how to keep the dream alive. And one day, someone tried to put the lid on my dreams. And hours later, my father blew the lid off for good. At that time, I didn't realize just what my daddy did for me. Parents can be some of the biggest lid droppers by placing limitations on their children, but you have to take the lid off no matter who put it on or how long it has been there. Wow, that is so very, very powerful. And he's got here, "Is your lid still on? Here are some of the ways you can tell if the lid is still on in your life. If you're not excited about waking up in the morning, if you're sitting around every day bored out of your mind, if you have time to do everything that anyone asks you to do, if you have time to watch all of your scheduled TV programs every week and not miss an episode, if you're getting plenty of sleep, if your dreams make sense to everyone around you, if you can achieve your dreams by yourself, if you recognize any of these behaviors in yourself or said yes as you read the list, you have to take the lid off your life and start living your dream." So profound, so beautiful, so couldn't be more right. And then even to go back and listening to him talking about after he turns around and talks about the teacher busting his dream. I mean, how many of us have turned around and a teacher or a parent or somebody else turns around and says that we can't do that, or that's not the right dream, or that's not big enough. And I know after I broke my neck, my uncle turned around and told me that I needed to dream big, but then turned around and told me I needed to go back to college. Well, it was like, what did I want to go to college for? I didn't want to go to college to begin with. When I first got out of school, I the hairdresser fresh out of high school because that's what I wanted to do. I loved doing hair. I loved doing other people's hair. I loved creating things. I loved what it was. I mean, when it came to proms and weddings and doing the updos and that kind of stuff, and even color and things like that. I mean, those were my specialties. I even went to advanced schooling for it. It was my passion. My parents wanted me to go to the telephone company and work for the telephone company. It's like, I don't want that either. It's like, this is crazy. It's like, I don't want to sit behind a desk. I was a people person. I wasn't somebody that could sit behind the desk for hours a day and just stare at the computers and do all that kind of stuff. So it's so important to not squash children's dreams. I mean, even my oldest son, I'll never forget the day that he called me. I was in Miami. I was getting therapy. He was in high school. They were doing one of those work fairs. I was trying to get through therapy, and he called, and he got squashed because they did like this little thing where everybody got to find out what they would be good at and stuff like that. And the thing had chose psychology for him, or a therapist. And when he went home, he got busted down. They were like, "You of all people," and it was like, wow, you know. And then I just always told him, and I always told any child, anybody, follow your dreams. If it's your heart, if it's your passion, you go for it. My stepdaughter Brittany, she's another one. She's 18 years old, and of all things, she wants to be a butcher. So it's like, you know, and most people don't want, you know, they're like, oh my God, you're a female and you want to be a butcher? What? Why in the world? She's done that stuff with her daddy all of her life, and it's something that she doesn't mind. She's not afraid of it. She knows it's a fact of whatever life is. So why would people turn around and squash somebody's dream? I mean, for the longest time, she thought she wanted to be a vet, but I'm one of those people, I like to kind of dissect, and we go through, and I found out her heart wasn't really in it. Her passion wasn't there. And when we had an animal that had a couple things that had happened, she couldn't handle it. So it's like, you can't, that's not your industry, baby. That's not what you want. That's, you know, so then we felt it out, and then she went through one of the science classes, and that was quite incredible, because when they dissected the turtle, she had a blast. She was like, I was one of the only ones that could take the shell off and all this stuff, and she just got so excited. So then we started exploring outside the box. Okay, well, what else can you do in that industry? What else can you do around those things? And she hadn't even thought of really doing the whole butchering thing. And then one day popped up, and she was like, wow, you know, I guess we really can. And you know, it's just, to me, I don't care what your dreams are. If they're little, if they're big, if they're little, you need to make them bigger. If you just, you've got to follow them. You've got to try them. If it's such a passion, you've got to. I mean, look at Steve Harvey. You figure in the 6th grade, his teacher said, you know, you can't be on TV. And I don't know about you, but if you watch any TV at all, he's all over the place. He's got his daily show. He does the stuff with Family Feud. He's had the other shows that he did with Cedric and all them. I mean, it's absolutely, he did follow his dreams, and look at where he's at. He's got a beautiful, amazing wife. You know, his whole family, you know, life is beautiful, but you've got to go through the failures. You've got to go through the different things in order to realize what you have and what you can give and what you can do. And you know, I'm thankful to be here, and I decided that this book was something that I was going to, you know, use to kind of impact my life, and if I can inspire others at the same time, then I absolutely want to. And I see here I've got a couple of people that are here and asking questions. I had one asking me where I'm from, and I'm actually originally from Maryland. I am now in South Carolina, and then the other one, they're just here, and there's no question. So, but yeah, that's me. I'm here. We are doing book weekdays. We're going through Steve Harvey's Act Like a Success book. So anybody who wants to join us, get in touch with me. And Michelle Leaf, I hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful Friday. I hope you have an amazing weekend. Thank you for being here, and love you all. Bye.